Michelle, roll call, please.
President Mrs. Gunther.
Here.
Vice President Mr. Johnson.
Here.
Board Member Mr. Reedy.
Here.
Board Member Ms. Jones.
Here.
Board Member Ms. Quist.
Here.
Superintendent Mr. Knudsen.
Here.
Possible agenda reorganization tonight.
We have none?
Possible correction and approval of past minutes. Was there any corrections?
None.
Agenda item clarifications, please.
We have an informational item, agenda item 16.1, or 6.1, gifted program. Dr. Leckie and Dr. Smith, can you please approach? Did I just win some money there?
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Mr. Knudsen, staff, and community. We're going to talk to you tonight about a gifted restructuring of our gifted program. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Kelly Smith, our Elementary Director of Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment, to go over the plan.
This is going to distract me. Can you pull up the PowerPoint? Thanks for having me tonight, guys. It's been a minute since I have addressed anybody from outside behind a computer screen, so thanks for having me. I would like to talk to you tonight about our gifted education programming, kind of where we are and then where we're going. Maybe. Maybe not. There we go. All right, so I have been with the district since 2007. And all that time, we've run gifted programming the exact same way. We run a gifted cluster model, which means that all of our first grade identified gifted kids are in one teacher's classroom. All of our second grade are in the same teacher's classroom, all the third grade. And that happens at every K-8 site. Gifted kids are identified by teacher recommendation, parent recommendation sometimes too, but mostly teacher recommendation. And then once a student is identified as gifted, we have teachers or groups of teachers create these DI plans. They're differentiated instructional plans. It helps our parents and our teachers know how to differentiate instruction according to the giftedness area of each student. We currently have 8 or more gifted coordinators at our K-8 sites, and we have varying levels of success with this model for 2 reasons, really. One is the teacher recommendation area, depending on whether a teacher is new or maybe not schooled in gifted student traits. Our identification rate's rather low. It's so low that one school has 4 gifted students, and we only have 1 first grade student identified in the entire district. So our identification rates are a little low. Also, DI plans, I am the one who approved those going home. And when I look at those DI plans, we've got some really great things going on across our K-8 schools as far as project-based learning goes. But the differentiation that happens between a gifted student and a general education student is minimal. They're doing great projects, but we don't always meet the needs of our gifted learners. Okay, so I sent out a parent survey. After reading all of our gifted DI plans, I sent out a parent survey to kind of get the idea of what do parents think of us. 46% of our parents that were surveyed said we offer rigorous instruction in science. 38% we said that we offer rigorous instruction in social studies. Our ELA and math was 50-50 split. And that doesn't surprise me since we just recently adopted some pretty rigorous curriculum. So the interesting part falls with these 2 bottom bullet points. 90% of our parents that were surveyed said that they would consider sending their student to a gifted magnet school. And of that, 67% said transportation would be an awesome add-on, but not needed. They'd be willing to drive their kids to a gifted magnet school. So, we're creating a gifted magnet school through CCR STEM Academy. Why CCR? They already have the STEM focus going. We're going to help me here. We're going to provide push in and pull out services. So our gifted kids are going to interact with kids that are not gifted, but also now get specialized gifted programming in grade level cohorts. So kindergarten through 2nd grade will be together and have like a gifted cohort class pull out. We'll have 2 gifted specialists. So we will no longer have 8 gifted coordinators. We'll have 2 gifted specialists that specialize in all the DI plans. all identification, all professional development, all instruction across our 8 K-8s. Our program is anchored in STEM, but uses our current curriculum. We got with transportation and said, even though parents said they would send their kids, could we provide transportation? And he's confident that he could. So we are looking into regional bus stops. So it may not be door to door, but at least like Copper Basin would have a regional bus stop where kids could walk and then be bused to Circle Cross. We recognize that Florence K-8 and Anthem are pretty south of Circle Cross Ranch. So we also realize that kids that go to school at Florence K-8 are born Gophers, and there's no way they're gonna go to Circle Cross Ranch. But we didn't want to leave them out. So our solution to that was to provide every other Wednesday programming at Circle Cross. So our kids would go to school to FK8 and go to Anthem, and they'd be picked up by a bus that transports them to Circle Cross. And because I'm a mom and I wouldn't want one of my gifted students attending a different school than my other kids, we are welcoming siblings of gifted students to Circle Cross Ranch. Now what happens if they don't want to go? Well, we're not going to force them. We will continue with the differentiated instruction plan. The difference here is that we have the 2 gifted specialists that can really help make that happen. Okay? We've got some goals, got some program goals for you. Right now, we can do better, and we're not doing better. So we want our kids to access our gifted education standards in a deep and meaningful way, probably through project-based learning, open-ended questioning. We want to provide a rigorous program, and we want to build capacity at one site. We want to work smarter, not harder. Instead of having 8 sites that are doing it relatively well, we want to have one site that does it very well. And then we want to attract students who may be in our district boundaries but not attending FUSD schools. And lastly, we want to build the capacity of our teachers within FUSD to offer gifted programming. Are there any questions? I get so nervous. Yes, go ahead.
I have a question. How will the moving students to Circle Cross Ranch, how will that affect space at Circle Cross Ranch?
Circle Cross Ranch currently does have space. So right now we have about 140 identified gifted K-7 students. But remember, there are none identified in kindergarten. There's 1 identified in 1st grade. So there is space for Circle. I don't remember the rest of your question.
With their siblings?
Yeah.
With their siblings as well? So there's space for them and siblings if they choose to?
There is.
Okay.
So we have, we've taken the ceiling out of our high schools the last 4 years across the district with the, at Florence High School, we have the International Baccalaureate program here. At Poston Butte, we have the STEM diploma program. And also at Santan Foothills, we have the AP Capstone program. So the ceiling is out of our high schools. Our high flyers in high school can fly as high as they want to go. You know, we went to the voters to try to move to a 7-12 model in order to take the ceiling out of our 7th and 8th grade. Unfortunately, we didn't get that to pass in November, but we're still meeting to look at going with that 7-12 model with the possibility of maybe doing a lease purchase on a northern school and a southern school, possibly here at Florence High School in Santan Foothills. The idea is, now that we've finished taking the ceiling out of the top, we need to start from the bottom up. So we're identifying Circle Cross Ranch as the first step. Anthem K-8 school is already in the application process for becoming an International Baccalaureate MYP program. So basically the idea is to move from the bottom up now, so that, you know, all of our kids that are high flyers, they are not bored in school. And we're going to do the best that we can to try to implement these things from a resource short perspective. But I think it's the right thing for our kids. If we can build a rigorous honors program in our 7th and 8th grade, while at the same time growing gifted within the district, it's going to set us up for success forever. So that's kind of what the goal is here, and I know that we don't want to just single out one school in regards to gifted, but that's where we're starting. So I think if we can tackle it from a northern end and southern end at the same time, because Anthem has been in that MYP process now for 2 years, they should be getting their authorization coming up here. How soon?
We have a visit in May, I believe, isn't it?
May?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the overall goal here, and hopefully you guys are interested in us pursuing this avenue.
Great.
I do have one more question. Sure. And it's maybe a wondering. So there are many different types of giftedness. And so obviously, teacher recommendation, I'm not sure what metrics, what national metrics or state metrics are used for the teacher recommendation process for a student being termed gifted. And I know you mentioned STEM already. So a student who is perhaps gifted in the arts, or someone who is gifted in communication, you know, I heard you, you know, talking about kind of growing from the bottom up. You know, is there a possibility at some point in the future, resources, of course, dependent on resources, that we could think about those types of different programs at different schools?
Most definitely. When the recession hit, one of the areas that was hit the hardest in our district, of course, was the arts. You know, I mean, we had to reduce the number of classes that our students were offered as a result of you know, the cuts, numerous years of cuts to our school district and across our state. So one of the testing areas in IB, of course, is the arts. So, you know, I mean, we want to win in band as much as
Yes, we do.
we want to win in athletics or academics. So it's imperative that we try to get to this model. If we can get to a 7-8 model where maybe we have 3 different pods of 7th and 8th graders, it allows us to have a much more rigorous band and arts program for our 7th and 8th graders. That presently right now with 200 kids at each K-8, it's very difficult to grow an honors program. That's why we bus kids a lot of times over to our high schools for English and math that are the high flyers. If we can migrate our 7th and 8th graders near our high schools, we can use those fine arts component teachers and push them down into the 7-8 as well. So that's kind of what the vision is. We've done I think we've done a great job of top down with taking the ceiling out. It's time to work from the bottom up, and you know, it's going to take us a few years, but we got there in the high school, we'll get there in the K-6, and we'll get there in the 7-8. It's just going to take us some time unless we get an infusion of additional resources to get the job done.
Any further questions from the board?
Thank you, Ms. Smith, or Dr. Smith,
Thank you.
and Mr. Lucky, Dr. Lucky. New business?
Yes, go ahead.
New business, we have Angie Stoudemire from Kairos Health to come up and talk about our benefits for next year.
All right, well, good evening, everyone. So I got to tell you, this is the first time for me and the board. I'm usually talking one-on-one. So, but thank you for having me. My name is Angie Stoudemire. I am the account manager for Florence. So with Kairos, so we are the trust that administers your benefits. And I just want to go over a few changes that are happening this year. They're good changes, they're positive changes, and just a quick recap on why we are making those changes. I think this is the 3rd year that Florence has been with Kairos. And so the biggest major change that we're doing this year is a network change. So we are moving from Blue Cross Blue Shield to United Healthcare. So it's set up, just so you guys understand, it's UHC, UMR. So UMR is going to be our claims administrator. They'll process all the claims, they'll do all the administration work, and then we'll be running the network from United Healthcare. So of course, this decision was not taken lightly. We understand the network that Blues has and the reach and how they can service, especially those rural areas. But we are super excited with UHC, as really there should be very minimal disruption as far as people's physicians and their facilities. The last thing that we want to do is disturb people's physicians and their medication. So UHC has about a 99.9% rate of having those same doctors in network. We have resources in place where we'll be able to send out to your employees, phone numbers. We have a team in place with UHC where they can contact them, go online and look, and just to make sure that their doctors are still available. If they're not available, there is a process in place too that, UHC will reach out and see if they can contract with that doctor, and a couple of other steps as well. So that's really the most important thing. One of the reasons is, as I listen to you guys talk about your budget and money and trying to have those resources and save, well, healthcare is crazy expensive. It's astronomical. It continues to grow and just costs more and more, and I see it within all my groups, and I see it even in the public and the private sector where the cost continues to grow. So one of the biggest challenges and one of the biggest reasons behind this change is we need a carrier who wants to partner with us to help control some of these costs. And we have found that with UHC. Unfortunately, Blues, we had a great relationship, but we got to a point where we're just not on the same page. And the most important thing is really cost containment within claims. And so, unfortunately, we've had too many different accounts, just to let you guys know, where claims should have only cost maybe $12,000 a year, and they ended up being $1.4 million, okay? So, with us, in case you guys don't know, we are self-funded, our pool is self-funded, so the monies and the premiums that we get from each of our groups, that's what we use to pay the claims. So we want to keep those at a minimum. We want to find those resources and teach people this is why generics more important, or maybe if you go to this facility instead of this facility, it'll keep that cost down. And so we're really excited about that partnership with UHC and UMR. And that's really one of the driving factors, and of course innovation. As I listen to you guys talk about being innovative, right? And bringing in new prospects and new opportunities. It's the same thing with us with UHC. So we have that going into effect July 1st. Good thing is we're going to remain with Max or Plus, so there are pharmacies, so you guys have had those, we've had those in place. So pharmacy is not going to change. And then of course we have some good enhancements. Unfortunately, especially with the effect of COVID, right? What has really stretched everyone so thin is kind of mental health stress, mental health, well-being. And we currently have EAP, which we've outgrown. So we're excited that we contracted with the new EAP partner, and that'll be ComPsych. So we're excited about them as well. Other than that, all the plans will remain the same, I think. So Florence currently offers the 5 medical plans. Your dental, your vision, all that remains the same. Real quick, I think we had a decrease in rates for short-term disability, and I think TDA for dental. So there was a decrease in rates, and then there was a 3% increase in rates for Delta Dental. So, but you guys have both, so you guys have a little bit of flexibility about that. Your ID cards, everybody will get new ID cards, but we will communicate this. I work very closely with Nellie and Tony, and of course Chris, so I'll be out here. The goal is to be out here in person a couple times, and then we'll do the webinars as well. To really just take the time, my passion is making people sure that people understand their benefits. There's 5 different plans, but the cheapest is not always the best, right? And the most expensive is not always the best. So it's my goal to really explain that to people and help them choose the right plan. So other than that, I think that's really the biggest change is that network change, but the other changes are really, really great enhancements, and we're really excited about it. Do you guys have any questions for me?
I don't.
Thank you, Angie.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm also on the board of Kairos. So since Mr. Johnson has a few years ago asked us to look into self-insuring, I have become a little bit educated. I got on the board of Kairos as well. And I'm going to say it in a little bit different manner. that a lot of times the healthcare companies are like the wizard from the Wizard of Oz, and they're sitting behind this curtain, and they're pulling all these levers, and the levers are the claims over here and the prescription rebates over here, which we never get to see. Well, what Kairos is trying to do is to bring those types of things to the forefront so that we can see the claims and we know what our rebates are, so that we can help direct our employees to the best option for them. One of the things that Kairos added was a nurse on staff to deal with claims and giving employees help with where to go to get the best and the cheapest procedures done. Like right now, if I need to have my knee replaced, I can, after I decide I want to get it done, I can call over, speak to this person, and they can direct me to a place that is quality for the lowest amount out of my pocket and cost of the district. As far as the insurance goes for our employees, one of the great things about Florence Unified is for our employees only that select healthcare, we generally in the past have picking up the cost of the increase, so it doesn't fall on the employee. A lot of places, they put that increase on the employee. We have not done that in Florence Unified, and even though maybe our salaries are a little bit lower than a lot of places in the East Valley, some of those school districts are passing those increases on to their employees, and I think that's one of the benefits of working in our district. So we're excited about the future and what can happen as the pool grows and the number of bodies that Kairos has under them increases, gives you buying power. So we're looking forward to that. As far as the next item, Mr. Gates, can you please approach and speak to agenda item 15.2, revision of the 21-22 calendar?
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, guests. Guys, can you pull up the presentation for me, please? I'm going to try to dodge the sun while I'm up here a little bit. So this is my 8th year in the district, and our school calendar is amazing. It's one of the best parts of our district. So some people might say, why are you messing with the school calendar? Don't touch our calendar. It's a great modified year-round calendar. And I wouldn't be up here unless I thought we could make it better. So what I'm going to show you in a minute here is how our calendar isn't changing and the changes that we're proposing to it, and then ask if there's any questions that you might have. So what's not changing about the calendar? And I apologize, the new proposed calendar is kind of small up there, but you guys should have this in front of you as well. So our school start date is staying the same. Our end date is staying the same. And our graduation date is staying the same. We've worked really hard the past couple years to try to get out before Memorial Day, and we're still able to do this with the calendar that you see in front of you. Our total teacher work days, 186, are staying the same. And our total student days of 180 are staying the same. Obviously, we're not going to change that. We do have 188 days for new teachers, but that's 2 additional days that we bring them on early for training and professional development. That's staying the same as well. Our total work days for all of our non-teaching personnel is staying the same. Our teacher work days, we have 5 startup days at the start of the school year, which is a lot. Most districts, maybe 2 or 3 startup days. We have 5 days to be able to utilize to provide professional development, train up our staff, get ready for the year, and get ready to hit the ground running. So that's not changing at all. And then we have 1 day at the close of the year to wrap up shop, check out, and get ready to go for summer. Our total number of intercession days and regular holidays are staying the same. And our total number of our early release days for professional development are staying the same as well. And our spring intercession break dates are staying the same. So what's changing? The proposed changes. 5 additional student days and teacher days first semester. So basically what we're doing is proposing to front load 5 days on in first quarter as opposed to third quarter. Simple change there. 5 less days then for students and teachers during the second semester, just trading those days out basically. Our fall and our winter intersession breaks then, with putting those 5 days at the start of the first quarter, will bump those 2 intersession dates back a week. And then number 4, something that we've been talking about for a couple years now, and we're pretty excited to hopefully be moving forward with, is to have the district closed, all of our schools, district office, closed the week of December 20th through 24th for the Christmas holiday. 12-month employees, so administrators and other folks, some custodial, some maintenance folks who are on a 12-month contract would be required to submit accrued leave for the 20th, the 21st, and the 22nd on those days. So our reasoning here. The first one is to provide a well-deserved break for all of our employees at the end of first semester. So those of us who have been in the business know that first semester and the school year is a grind. So we're excited to get to it, to be able to get to the end of first semester and provide people a break. The second is to provide our 12-month employees with that time off. Most districts already provide that whole week off, so we're just looking to add that. Excuse me. And then one of the main reasons is to take that first week in January and provide professional development to our teachers and our administrators. And we can then provide professional development to our teachers who sometimes are a little hesitant to come in if we're trying to do it right after we've gone on break. So here's both of the calendars. You can see the comparison between the two. Are there any questions that I could answer for the board, or anything that I didn't address for the group?
I'm good. Anybody? Thank you, Mr. Gates.
Thank you, Mr. Gates.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's it.
Okay, we have about 2 minutes till the other. The regular board meeting, I'll start it right at 6 o'clock. Of Tuesday, March 9th, 2021.
I motion.
I'll second it. Motion was made by Ms. Jones, second by myself. Is there any discussion? Please vote. Motion carries 5-0. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, governing board member reports, Ms. Quist.
Oh, you're starting with me
I'm
this
gonna start
time.
with you.
Oh.
I never know which direction I want to go, so I just change it up every time.
Awesome. Well, thank you. So March is Reading Month, and it's also Women's History Month, and I was honored to participate in the Florence K-8 School I Love to Read Week. They put out something asking for us to read a book and video record it, and so I'm celebrating both Reading Month and Women's History Month with my book choice. So that was awesome. And then also Copper Basin did the same. They had a Title I family night where I read a book about families, and that was awesome. So thank you for the opportunity. Instilling a love to read is so important in our children. And involving the families and community members is also very important. I enjoyed reading the board packet as usual, and just some highlights that kind of stood out to me. We talked earlier about Anthem K-8 and the middle years program, and I saw that they were talking about focusing on being open-minded learners and understanding different perspectives and appreciating their own cultures and their own personal history, so that they're open to the perspectives, values, and the traditions of other individuals and communities. And I just think that's so important for us to continue to support in our schools. So I really appreciated that. And I also saw at Florence High School, they were talking about the PLC work that they do on Wednesday mornings, and just really looking at how to make sure that we have rigorous instruction in our classrooms by focusing on the standards, developing targets, and then using formative assessments to see whether students are learning or not. And then what do we do when they don't learn what they're supposed to? And what do we do if they already knew what they were supposed to learn to begin with? So some of those kinds of focuses, I really, now that we have 50% of our teachers that are fully vaccinated, which yay, and big kudos to Superintendent Knudsen and Dr. Leckie. I think that the push to make sure that teachers were given the opportunity and continued to the communication that went out about where it's at, and I know that a lot of teachers, 50% of them are already completely vaccinated, and then 20% are waiting for their second dose, I think I read. So it's time for us to get out into schools. So I'm really looking forward to, being out in schools. So I hope you all see us very, very soon. So.
Okay, Ms. Jones?
Thank you. So I echo what Ms. Quist shared. The administrative packet was really exciting to read in preparation for this meeting. And I had a few notations that I wanted to reflect on, but I do just want to thank everybody for the care and detailed capturing of the work that's been accomplished since the previous meeting. I was really impressed to see the intention put into the social emotional support that several schools noted, and identifying continuing work. I'm curious, and throughout this notation that I have several areas where I have this tell me more, because I'm still in that learning of all the things about the district, and social emotional is such a popular topic, more so because of the past year than it ever has been. So I'm just curious about what that looks like, and would love to get more information from the schools that really call that out for this month's reporting. In addition to the school that is working on suicide prevention, trauma-informed approaches, and definitely the impact of poverty on families, because that, research says plays a huge role in the achievement gap. So I was very impressed to see that noted. Other things that I'm curious about are just the work and conversations centered around the learning gap and any mechanisms that are being put into place. I know that Dr. Leckie is going to share information about the work and the alignment with the governor's office. So I'm very curious to see what that looks like. I know that not everybody has the time to capture pictures and add that to the reports, but I really, really was impressed with Walker Butte and Poston Butte really sharing with everybody all of the projects that they're working on. And that, to Ms. Quist's point, made me super excited to be able to go to the schools to see all of the work live and in action. I also was very impressed to see in the discipline and behavior reports that there were, majority of the reports had no reports for those areas or minimal behavior concerns in this last reporting cycle. And then the last few things that I was curious about, just wanting to learn more about the Florence Virtual Academy and, you know, just what the demographics look like, and then any future planning, and then definitely the attention that was shared about the building of community among teachers that are being pulled from different schools, and then the collaboration relationships between families and teachers. And then just to wrap it up, because I have so many things that I actually have marked as tell me more, but it's just, that's how excited I was in reading the report, and really, you know, getting to know everyone and all of the great work that everyone's doing. I'm just so excited to really hear everyone share all the work that they are involved in, and excited to push forward for the next school year especially. So thank you so much for everything that was shared, and I'm extremely excited to have the opportunity to go and visit all of the schools and, you know, meet the leadership and teachers and students face to face, and just see them in their own school homes. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Beatty?
Thank you. I just want to personally thank the entire FUSD staff, from administrators to the teachers to all the support staff, for the great job they've done in transitioning back into in-person learning. I've heard wonderful things throughout the town. Students are excited to be back. Parents, of course, are excited for the students to be back. And it really, really was a great transition, and I thank everybody for their part in helping out. I also wanted to recognize one of the Florence High School students who was recognized as the Youth of the Year by the Greater Florence Chamber of Commerce. Her name is Reese Rimmer, a multi-generational Florence family member, and does some great things in the community and part of the high school. They recognized her. She'll be recognized in front of town council, and I think this week, at the end of the week, there's something which I'll be presenting to her. I have the honor of presenting it to her later this week. So I'm excited about that, and we have some great students that we kind of talked about earlier that hopefully will continue to advance and do great things for the town. I also was able to finally get through, after 4 or 5 takes of reading in front of a video and doing and participating in the reading for the various schools, the Copper Basin Project. I will say that it took me 4 or 5 takes to get something that I was willing to share, but it was a lot of fun, and I look forward to, now that schools are opening, to take part in a lot more and seeing all that we do. Thank you for giving me the time.
Mr. Johnson?
I just think very quickly, just thank you to everybody for continuing to work as a family and a team here in Florence Unified. That's what we're all about. And just as far as on metrics, looking at the report that's mandatory that we have to share as far as our operational expense, it gives me a lot of pride to see that as far as district administration, where we are compared to peer average and state averages, we are in a very good position. And I don't know if all of our competing educational institutions can say the same.
I would agree. I would like to say the same thing. I mean, we had teacher contracts come back, and this year I was prepared. I was like, okay, we're going to get hit. You know, not just this district, but many districts across the state and across the United States was going to get hit. And to have, I believe, one of the lowest turnover rates that we have had is amazing. And it says a lot for the leadership within this district at site levels and throughout the district office. So I just thank everybody. We're not through it. We're still going to keep going, but here we are. We're coming up on spring break. So everybody, I hope, enjoys their break to rejuvenate and then come back and get ready for graduation, because these seniors deserve it. They have had a couple of years of rough years for them, so I'm excited to get ready to celebrate with them. So thank you again to the district, and thank you to all the teachers that will be returning with us. I look forward to working with you guys again next year in FUSD. So that's it. You got anything?
Oh, yes. I also did a video, and I did it in one take, and I just wanted everyone to see actually how flawed I am. So I had one teacher send me an email and said, "Thank you for reading the book about courage." next time you might want to practice ahead of time. And I responded, well, I was an English teacher. I used to read out loud every single day in class. I did it on purpose to show my flaws. So I was in a meeting with the governor and 12 other soups on Tuesday of last week. And he asked us about our major challenges during the pandemic and also what we were doing to address the gaps in learning. And, I talked a lot about, the importance of getting our faculty and staff vaccinated and how that helped immensely with getting back to somewhat of normal in our schools. I got an email today from a group of superintendents about prom, and a lot of places are canceling prom. Two of our schools did have a homecoming dance outside, spaced out. I mean, it wasn't a normal dance by any means. They weren't allowed to slow dance. Dr. Lucky did that a lot in high school, but they weren't allowed to. We will be having prom in Florence Unified School District. They will be outdoors. I know that here in Florence High's prom will be down on Main Street. So we're excited to hear about that. Santan Foothills, of course, will be at the Windmill, and I believe that Poston will be in a venue as well. So, we've done the best we can to try to make it as normal for our kids, and it hasn't been normal by any means. Looking at the increases, I'm on the board of Kairos, so to see a 30% increase in the prescriptions for anxiety and depression for the employees across the state, that's a significant number. So next board meeting, we will have a presentation on SEL that I think you guys will be very impressed with, because we are being very intentional about trying to look out for one another. And I think it was apparent in, the number of contracts that were returned. I think our people feel like, as bad as this pandemic was, and it was really bad, I even said to the governor, I can't imagine being in your shoes. I hated being in my shoes, but I couldn't imagine being in his. But I think overall, I think the collective leadership in this district from all angles, in every position, I really think we did our best to come together, and it wasn't easy, because the pandemic was a really serious, bad thing, and we all lost, I'm sure, people that we know from it. So I'm glad to see that there is a light on the horizon. We will have in-person graduation as well, pending, hopefully, we stay below a 5% positivity rate and everyone gets their vaccinations, and our goal is to have graduation to the most normal as possible. Of course, we can't pack stadiums yet, and I'm not going to say that we're going to. We will probably allow for, right now, for people per graduate, and that may increase depending on what happens in the next couple months. But that's what our goal is, and our goal has always been to try to take care of our students that want to be in person, as well as our students that have been online. So I couldn't be prouder of all the people that I work with here in FUSD. So my favorite part of my day, and this is a silver lining from this pandemic, is now we don't bring students here to get their awards. We all get to go out into the schools, into classrooms while classes are going on, and make a big deal for our kids in front of their peers and in front of their teachers, and our teachers are getting awards in front of their kids, and I can't even tell you how rewarding that has been for me and my team to be able to go out and we also started something called the Surprise Squad, where people can nominate people who need to be surprised. And we get a group of about 10 people and bring a bullhorn and go into classrooms and just hand out a t-shirt and say, hey, we see you, we appreciate you, So all you teachers out there and staff, if you want to nominate a colleague, get it to Mr. Gates. He is the new surprise squad leader. We also have, so again, we get to see our slide presentation of our students and employees of the month right now. I didn't forget this week.
I like how you just gave Mr. Gates a surprise. You got a new position.
Surprise, Mr. Gates.
Okay.
Mr. Gates has been getting more and more put up in front of the microphone.
While I do miss having the kids here for awards, it is kind of nice to see them in their own elements and their teachers getting to celebrate with them. I think that's pretty awesome, so I
Oh,
won't
we
miss
need
that
to,
part.
next time we'll do some videos. It gets pretty crazy. The last couple things that I have for my superintendent's report is, Mr. Gates, could you please come up and speak to retention over the last 6 years? And then we'll have the Auditor General's report that we'll go over real briefly.
All right, these guys, while they're pulling up the presentation, a couple of years ago, Mr. Knudsen called me into his office and said, "Hey, I want you to take over recruitment and retention for our district." And I said, "Outstanding." And I really did. I couldn't be more passionate and excited about it. As a building principal, I believe that one of the most important jobs that I did every day was to hire great teachers and do all that I could to keep great teachers. They make the most impact on student learning, and the data and everything that we have shows that. So, I have some exciting data to show you and an update of what I've been up to along with my recruitment and retention committee working with our administrators the last couple of years since that initial meeting. So, longitudinal data. Ms. Gunther, you mentioned you heard that our contracts percentage had looked pretty good. And I said, yeah, I think that is pretty good. Let's go back and pull some data. How does it look longitudinally over the past 7 years? Well, you can see 75% in 2015, and this is for contracts that we just received. So our teachers, our guidance counselors, and our instructional coaches. 7 years ago, we were at 75% retention, 25% turnover rate. And you can see a nice, steady increase. A couple little dips up in there. Last year, we were at 85%. This year, we're at 92%. 92%. So that is, it's something for us to celebrate. We had an administrative meeting today, and something for us to be really proud of. And we have sites out there that are at 88% to 100% when you look at it. So it's something that we're really excited, and given the culture and the pandemic and kind of all the other things that we've dealt with, we're very excited about this. So just a little peek behind the curtain of some of the things that we've been working on for our retention strategies. First, stay meetings, and these are called different in different places, but the whole idea here is the last 2 years during the winter, usually in January, we work with our site administrators to have an informal meeting with all of their teachers. Kind of a check-in. Hey, how you doing? What can I do to help support? What would be your dream spot for next year, you know? So that kind of extra, you know, not an evaluation meeting, not a post-conference, not anything like that, an informal stay meeting with our teachers. And that sometimes leads to number 2, finding the right fit. You know, after a teacher's been in a position 3, 4, 5 years, they might be looking for that next challenge. They might be thinking, gosh, 3rd grade's cool, but I always really wanted to teach first. So some of it is finding the right fit, and that fit may not always be in that building. So maybe how can we work together as a committee and with other schools to maybe help that person get in a fit that's good for them to where they stay with the district as opposed to going somewhere else. Leadership's a huge part of this. Steady leadership, servant leadership. You guys remember from convocation, back when we had convocations, maybe we'll have one this year. A couple years ago, Knutson pulls his, industrial size dually smoker out there and cooks for the whole staff, and administrators served. And that was fun. I love that. That was a great day. We were serving to everybody and getting lunch. And then it's steady leadership. We haven't had a lot of turnover here at the district level and at our sites. And a lot of research shows that people want to be at sites where there's that steady leadership. If you have principals turning over every year, that sometimes doesn't lead to good retention. Culture's huge. Got to have a positive school culture, positive district culture. And that's something that we work on every day through academics, through our social, emotional, and hopefully you can feel it. Feel that culture here in our district and in our schools when you visit them. Employee recognition, Mr. Knutson stole my thunder on the surprise squad. We just started this. This is part of our recruitment retention. This is Rita and Dora on that committee had this idea. And that's the cool thing about working this committee. There's 7 of us on it. They're from different perspectives, different backgrounds. We have principals, we have directors, we have classified staff that are on it, and we're actually growing the committee into 3 different subcommittees because we're kind of getting a little bit too big and we need a little bit more help, which is exciting. But Surprise Squad, this was our first round, so we had 34 people that we recognized through these surprises. Cafeteria workers, custodial, instructional coaches, teachers. And you guys talked about maybe wanting to get out in the schools. We would love to have some board members with us that next round of Surprise Squad because that is a ton of fun. And we jump in there and some people are scared, some people cry, some people don't, and the kids love it. They just think it's great. So we're really excited to do that, and it's something we want to try to do every month from here on out. And then just collaborative efforts between our administrators and our recruitment retention team, and it's become something that is strategic and planned that we're talking about. So an example is today we were kind of talking about, I was meeting with all of our principals and I was asking them about openings. Well, we found out that there's a social studies opening at a school and maybe someone at another school that wants to voluntary transfer over there, and those principals are going to maybe work together to get that person over there. We didn't used to have those conversations, so that's a big win for us to be able to do that. So then the other side of it is our recruitment. So retention is a big part of what we do. That's our 92%. That's a huge focus. But we know we're not going to keep everybody. Life happens. Sometimes people leave. Sometimes people move away. Sometimes folks just look for a change, so we have to be ready to fill those positions. So our first are our own career fairs. We held 3 this year. We held 1 in December, the first time we've ever done that. We focused primarily on classified, and we hired some folks for that. And we did have a couple certified candidates come in. Then we had our own fairs here, February. We did it over 2 nights. We offered a virtual option this year or in person, and probably I'm going to say 70% of our interviews that we did were virtual. So something that, with all the things through COVID that we've kind of dealt with and challenges, some positives and maybe some new ways of thinking for us of this have come out too, because we had some out-of-state candidates, some folks from across town, some others that maybe just weren't quite comfortable coming in person yet. But we are excited with that. And so from our own job fairs, we have over 10 folks that we're either hiring or in the process of hiring. So that's exciting for us. The other fairs have been interesting because they're all virtual. The fairs that we used to do, you go to a college and you're like in a big, gym or something, and you're out there at your table and you're ready to go, and people are walking by and you're getting them and you're talking to them. Now we go through Handshake. and you're just basically there, and I'm sitting at my computer with my Google Meet open, ready for somebody to jump in and say hello, from Wichita, was a school that we went to. So those have been a little bit more challenging, but we have more of them planned, and we're excited to keep pushing towards those. Student teachers is a huge part of our improvement in what we're doing. We're really working to make more contacts and placements with universities and growing our own. We had around 8 student teachers who were with us in the fall semester. 4 of those we placed into positions at mid-year. We have around 5 or 6 with us now. 4 of them already have letters of intent and contracts for next year. So we want to try to grow our own and keep those people in our boat. Funding's a big part of this. Title II is an area that you can use towards teacher recruitment and retention. So we use it towards PR marketing, career fairs. We do offer some one-time recruitment stipends for hard-to-fill positions. So if it's a special education, math, maybe a relocation for an employee. And then, once again, just collaborative effort between the school and district leadership as to what are our openings and how can we pull people into those openings and get them filled. So just a couple future plans for where our team and committee is planning on going next year. So one thing that we really want to work on is employee engagement and connection activities. So a lot of research out there that shows that the more that you can do to further engage people beyond just coming into their classroom or coming into their workplace every day and going home to the people that they work with or the people in the district, it creates that employee satisfaction. So we're looking at maybe quarterly events. This could be like a hike at Santan Reserve, maybe on a Saturday. Everybody's invited, come on out there and we do kind of a community hike. Or we could get involved in sort of fundraising or community effort. Monthly events, or even weekly events. We have a lot of resources at our schools. We have a lot of talented people. Could somebody who's the art teacher here at Florence High maybe every other week offer like a painting class that employees could come to and participate in at no cost to them as kind of an employee benefit to be part of the district? So we're working on kind of putting out a survey to see what people would be interested in, what would they like, what would they be engaged with, and how we can start to put some of those things together to really start to engage and connect our activity, our employees more. And I know the sites do this sort of thing a lot, so we're kind of looking at it from a bigger district level of how can we make more connections there beyond what our site leaders and what the principals are doing at their own sites. Years of service recognition, it's something we don't have.
I know.
It's pretty crazy to think we're FUSD #1, one of the first districts in the state of Arizona, and we don't have a year of service recognition. So we're working on that. We're working on putting together a plan. We're using Title II funding and some of our funding from Community Ed program as well to be able to we want to make everybody whole next year. So recognize people at 3, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and up. So we're putting that plan together. We've got a lot of cool ideas for that. And we want to try to do it in either board meetings or a big banquet setting or something along those lines to where people feel recognized. We want to increase our PR. We've had the idea 2 years ago, before people didn't go to movies anymore, to advertise at the Harkins in Queen Creek, to be able to advertise kind of on a 6-month frame about our district and just the positive aspects of our district in the fall to try to increase basically student enrollment. And then we're going to shift that to working in Florence Unified School District on the other 6 months because it's a year-long deal. It's kind of expensive, but we thought it gets us in front of a lot of people when a lot of people are going to movies. But that's one idea that we have if we get back to normal. Social media, local media, just increasing that as much as possible. And then all these new housing communities popping up around there, getting flyers out in those communities about FUSD, about working in FUSD, about positions in FUSD. So as people are moving into a new community, there's a flyer there, and maybe they pick it up and they can scan the QR code and start to apply. We're working on a new exit survey for our employees, and we hope to have this rolled out here in April. The purpose of an exit survey is for us to figure out what can we do to keep our people who are not leaving us. You know, when someone fills out an exit survey, they're already gone. So we want to learn from them. What can we do to keep the good people who are with us? What can we change? What can we impact? From a paraprofessional, from a bus driver, from a teacher, a school psychologist. All of those folks will have an opportunity to fill that out, and we'll have that data pulled together. And then next year, we're interested in going back to the Midwest. We've had some success at job fairs back there in the past. You know, you go back in February where it's cold and snowy and you have your sunny, kind of display out there, and that helps sometimes. We've got some really good employees from that. So we're hoping, we have Michigan next week, 2 days. It's all of the Michigan schools, 2-day virtual fair. So we're hoping maybe we can grab some people from there.
Just sit outside where it's 80 degrees and show them how
I know,
beautiful it
yeah.
is.
For the ADE job fair, which was all day Saturday a couple weeks ago, my house is almost completely under construction renovation. So I went out on my back patio, and it was sunny and nice, and we had some candidates from other states, and I'm like, this is really working out good, because it was snowing where they are, and I'm outside and it's sunny and warm. So it wasn't intentional, but I thought maybe I can strategically do that in the future. But so starting where I left off, a reason for us to celebrate. Huge credit to our administrators and their work, and then our teamwork in the district and the collaboration amongst the folks that are with us, and just a big success and a big win for us. And in education, we look for wins. We need to celebrate those victories, and this is one of those victories. In a year, to be frank, where we've had a lot of challenges and dealt with stuff that we've never ever dealt with before. So we're excited to take this win into our spring break. Thank you.
Yeah, the only thing I want to say is, again, on that retention, it is amazing because throughout the United States, and especially Arizona and neighboring districts, you're going to see a turnover. Whether, we're a smaller district, so an 8% cut, like in a bigger district, that's going to be a lot of open positions where if somebody from our district wanted to move to the other, they have more of an opportunity, and they're choosing to stay with us. Life is about choices, and they're choosing, and we have proven that we are the right place to be. So I'm very proud of that. So thank you guys all again for that. On the service recognition, I know I saw it on social media, and I was like, oh, wow, we've never done this before. So congratulations. I cannot remember the teacher's name that had 20 years of service.
Gates?
Yeah, okay. 20 years of service, and that was amazing. So I thank her very much for that. On the exit survey, the only thing I could say is I want to make sure the board, when you guys start doing those, the board does receive that in an anonymous fashion, just kind of overall of this is why this category is a percentage and all that. That way we get that same information fed back to us.
No problem. And actually, it's going to be anonymous.
Okay.
We did a lot of research on this, and research shows if it's not an anonymous survey, people aren't going to be honest.
Okay.
We thought about requiring it, but once again, the research was against that. So we're going to push it out. We hope as many people can complete it, so it might take a little bit to compile that data, but we'll definitely be happy to share that. And we want to see, like I said, from teachers to paraprofessionals and be able to break it down and to see how people are responding and what we can try to do. We know a lot of the challenges and the reasons we lose people, but there might be some things that we're missing in there, and hopefully that data can reveal that for us.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
I can just add, one of the latest pieces of research that I read about exit surveys too, talks about surveying the people that stay, because they're the ones that actually, there's a lot larger number of people that are choosing to stay rather than are choosing to leave, and asking them, why are you staying? What is it about FUSD that keeps you here? What are the things that really make a difference for you? And because like you said, there's a lot of choices out there. We live in an area where teachers can go, lots of different places. So that would be something to think about anyway.
Absolutely. Thank you for that feedback. And we're informally doing that with the stay meetings, but something more formal where we're gathering data in more of an anonymous type setting would be really good. So thank you.
Anything else from that one?
Thank you, Mr. Gates.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Ms. Myers, and this is actually the longest superintendent's report I'll
I
probably
know.
ever give. Ms. Myers and Ms. Erickson, can you please come and speak to the Auditor General's report?
Madam President, members of the board, Mr. Knudsen, every year the Arizona Auditor General's Office prepares the special study, and they put it together from the information that's provided by school districts and charter schools throughout the state, from the annual financial report that we submit every year at the end of the year. And it includes the costs, operational measures, and the trends of average teacher salaries and other measures of the districts. And it included, if you'll bring up the first table, what this is they take peer groups that included in our particular district includes large and medium unified and unified high school districts in towns and rural areas. And so there are 17 school districts that are in our peer group and that are included in the instructional spending part of it. And you can see they'll range from Safford, there's Douglas in there, there's Maricopa, Nogales, different sizes of school districts. And then in that particular chart, it also shows we're about in the middle in regards to the percentage of instructional spending out of our peer group. Then on the next chart, it shows in our peer group, it's a different group of districts and towns for rural areas. And this is what they're doing is a comparison of these peer groups, and it's for transportation. And what they did is they took school districts that had mileage between 336 to 460 miles per rider. And they did a comparison for the cost when they did this study. So in that particular group, we've got some of the same districts, maybe a few of them, but a lot of them are different. And so we're right in the middle in regards to the cost per rider and the cost per mile in regards to this study. Next. So when you look at the actual study, what it does is they'll tell you, again, up at the top, it shows the peer groups, and that's the two charts I was showing you. It shows what legislative district we're in, what we're considered as a rural district, and then it gives various information. That's how many students are attending, and our percentage of special ed population, poverty rate, free and reduced, graduation rate. So it gives you all kinds of information. And then our spending by our operational areas, spending by the COVID. We got our federal monies coming in and how we spent it versus our peers. And then it shows also our average teacher salary and other measures. Now what's interesting, Ms. Erickson and I this afternoon, we were pulling up the full report, which is like 300 and some pages, and it's got all the different school districts, and it's really interesting to pull them up and do comparisons and just look at their charts versus ours. We look very good. Actually, we look very, very good. So if you'd like to do that, you can go out to the Arizona Auditor General's website, and the full report is there. And you can pull up every school district in the state and look at this particular report and see how the performance is of other school districts in this comparison. Are there any questions in regards to the report?
No, I mean, I'm very proud of this report, so very happy with it.
Thank you, ladies. And that's all that I have for my report.
Michelle, any calls to the public? Do I have an approval of the consent agenda? I'll move that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Motion is made by myself, second by Ms. Quist. Is there any discussion? Please vote. Motion carries 5-0. New business, renewal of insurance benefits. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the renewal of insurance benefits package for 2021-2022.
A second.
Motion is made by Ms. Quist, second by Mr. Beatty. Is there any discussion? Please vote. Motion carries 5-0. Revision of the 2021-2022 calendar year, the school calendar, sorry.
I move to approve the school calendar revisions to the 21-22 school calendar as presented.
I'll second the motion.
Motion is made by Mr. Beatty, second by Mr. Johnson. Is there any discussion? Please vote. Motion carries 5-0. Next one will be executive session. Do I have a motion?
I'll move that we move into executive session.
I need you to state the ARSs.
And we move into executive session pursuant to ARS 38-431.03A1.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I second.
Motion is made by Mr. Johnson, second by Mr. Beatty. Is there any discussion? Please vote. Motion carries 5-0. We're going to go into executive session if anybody would like to go. Thank you guys for joining us. Please vote.
Wake up my computer.
Oh, it's chilly right here.
Just like I lost my network connection, I apologize. Just-
Okay, no problem.
Mine just popped up.
Okay, motion carries 5-0. Okay, the next one will be possible modifications to the contract for the superintendent. Hold on, I've got to try to find where I can go. It's not, oh, there you go.
I gotta join again.
I'm just going to delete the current motion, correct, and type in the new? It's not, it doesn't come up blank like it did before, so I just want to make sure I'm doing it right. But I already hit delete, so I have to just go with it.
Yeah, or you can add motion.
I did hit that, and then it came up again, the same thing.
Okay, yeah, so. can
Okay,
you
then I'll
delete
just
that?
type it in.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. I am typing in to modify, a motion to modify the superintendent's performance pay for the current school year and add his payment performance pay at 10% based on the strategic plans. And it's not even going, so.
I was gonna say,
It was supposed to be
That's right.
following along, and I was just typing along, never realized it was not there, so.
okay. I was just gonna ask, do we refresh to be able to see?
Yeah,
what
I
you
tried to
typed?
refresh and
Yeah.
it kicked me out,
It
actually.
was
Oh,
not
did it?
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not letting me type it in. It kicks me out after 3 letters every time. I can only get to that far. Like I go here, and then it was kicking me out again. And then it would stop and then take it all the way back. I know. It won't do it now because you're sitting over me. Okay, so yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and add that.
Go, yeah, just add it like that, and I'll take a
Okay.
picture of this, or I'll go make a copy of this.
This on. Madam President, members of the board, you can go back to the old-fashioned way if you need to.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to. That's why I
And-
said we're gonna forego this, and I'm just going to make that motion,
And make a vote
and she'll
for it.
type it in later, so.
Yeah, and then Ms. Green can just record that vote. You can call for a roll call vote if you need to, because you're
It
used
should
to
go ahead
doing-
and allow me, but yeah, thank you for that, because I was
You're-
getting
you're
very
welcome.
frustrated with
Just-
it keep going back and forth. Okay, so again, my motion was to modify the superintendent's performance pay for the current school year and based on strategic plan and pay out at 10%. My motion was made by, do I have a
did.
first? Ms. Quest, right?
I'll
Okay.
make that motion, yes.
And then second by
I'll second.
Ms. Jones. Is there any discussion? Please vote. That motion carries. Okay, the next one, which I will not be able to do, and we're gonna have to do by verbals because I cannot add another one in here. Yeah, it won't even let me save it. So the next motion would be to approve the leave of absence for our Superintendent Chris Knutson, starting April 2nd, 2021, and move to the staffing contract with ESI with administrative costs of 5% paid for by the superintendent.
I'll
Do I have a-
second.
Okay, so motion is made by myself, second by Ms. Quist. Is there any discussion? Okay, Ms. Quist? Vote. We can't do it. You have to do
Yes.
it verbally.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Motion carries 5-0. I can't move anything now. So, any items for the future agendas?
We need to start talking about graduation.
Yes, exactly. I can't even get anywhere further in here.
We will bring a graduation report to you guys in April.
Okay.
We're waiving community service again this year.
Oh, we're gonna have to. Yeah, graduation report for next board meeting.
Otherwise, the board president needs some lawn work done.
What is the date of graduation, you guys?
You'd have to pull out your current school calendar that we were
May
provided.
31st?
I do believe it's like
It'll
May.
be
28th?
Wednesday or Thursday before Memorial Day, right? Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Wednesday or Thursday before Memorial Day.
That's in there.
So that will probably be around the 22nd.
Basically, we'll split board members up amongst the 3 high schools because it is on the same evening.
Okay.
Okay, the next regular board meeting, I can't even get to it.
Yeah, looks like it's the 26th.
26th.
April 13th.
April 13th. The next regular board meeting will be April 13th, 2021 at the district office, 1000 South Main Street, Florence, Arizona. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion was made, okay. Motion was made by Mr. Johnson, second by Mr. Beatty. Is there any discussion?
No?
Ms. Quist?
Yeah, aye.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Beatty?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
You too.
Failure.
27th is graduation.